Thank you for being here with us this afternoon. I was wondering if you could just introduce yourself a little bit and talk a little bit about Akiptan.
Hi. Yeah. Good morning, good afternoon. My name is Skya Ducheneaux, and I'm the Executive Director of Akiptan. We are a Native American Community Development Financial Institution, or a Native CDFI. And what a CDFI is we're nonprofit lenders. There's like 70 plus all over the country based on different reservations and stuff. But the way that Akiptan came to be is there's a company called the Intertribal Agriculture Council, and one of their main priorities anyways, is connecting producers with the resources that they need to succeed. And throughout all that work, the last 30 years, the biggest frustration that they had was getting their Indian producers access to credit, or if they could get access to credit, it was access to fair credit. So after years of battling those systems and all of that, they finally just said, you know what, enough's enough. We're going to put our money where our mouth is, and we're going to create our own CDFI. They hired me at the tail end of 2017. I spent all of 2018 working with my board, going to trainings and developing procedures and policies and just all that in order to figure out how we can deliver financing, but make it indigenous, make it better, make it work for Indian country. And then so we officially opened up for lending and separated from the former parent company in January 2019. And it's honestly just been off to the races since then. It's been a really exciting journey that we've been on. We're still relatively new, but we've learned so much. We've grown so much. We get to meet the needs of a lot of producers. We get the cool thing about Native CDFIs is that we don't just provide loan capital, we actually provide technical assistance with it. So we really help to build our borrowers up. We help to give them the tools that they need to succeed. We get to have some really cool relationships with our borrowers. There's a lot of, just like getting to visit, getting to go check things out, and then just getting to watch their success story unfold is honestly my favorite part. So yeah, that's like the short version of how we got here and a little bit about what we do. But.
That's amazing. I love that your CDFI does build those relationships with the people that you're providing financing to. And so I was wondering if you could talk a little bit about how CDFIs are different than traditional lending practices.
Yeah, so the biggest difference is we're nonprofit lenders. We don't have shareholders to keep happy. You know what I mean? Like it's not about the money. It's about building our local communities. It's about building our reservation communities. It's about empowering our borrowers. It's not about the bottom dollar necessarily. We have to fundraise a lot just to supplement the operating expenses, and you know what I mean? And so that's the biggest difference, is that we're really there for our producers, for our community. But with that, we are unregulated. Now there's still like laws we have to follow. We don't get to just do whatever we want, but we're unregulated. So there's less rules that we have to follow. And that gives us a lot of flexibility. It allows us to take on more what they call risk. I don't really agree with traditional terms of what risk means, but it allows us to take on more risk. It allows for us to be able to do some really cool things. Like here at Akiptan, for example, we've got two different repayment options. We've got your traditional option where you're making interest and principal payments, but we've also got, we've kind of coined our investment option, and it reflects a longer term investment with our clients. It reflects that we want to be like partners in this. We don't want to be like, I'm your banker, you're the lender, and this is how it's going to be. You know what I mean? Like we don't like that relationship. Like we're partners in this. Like your success is our success. So, like we want to set you up to succeed. We're comfortable taking that risk with you. You know what I mean? And so we really get to change the dynamic and do things different. And that's another thing that makes us a lot different than your traditional lender, because we get to do up to 5 years interest-only payments on certain things with our patient capital approach, with our investment approach, and we don't there's just a lot of really cool things because we don't have all those regulations. We don't have all the shareholders to keep happy and different things like that. But the biggest thing, I guess another big thing is just the technical assistance that goes along with it. We spend hours working with our clients and looking at their financials and figuring out, like, you know, what are your goals in 1 year, 3 years, 5 years, 10 years, or, you know what I mean? Like, what do you want to do? And we put pen to paper and how are we going to get you there? And what is our role in your success? You know what I mean? We really put a lot of work into that. And like from a technical standpoint too, technical assistance is a risk reducer, you know what I mean? And so while conventional ways might look at Indian country as risky because of trust land issues or educational issues or whatever it is, we really work to get rid of those barriers and to build our borrowers up for success, and to make sure that they succeed. You know, that's at the end of the day, that's what all of us native CDFIs want. So.
Exactly. And I know that risk, I like your quotations because it's true. Like what finance considers risky is a really interesting collection of things. And so CDFIs have provided this really great opportunity for meeting those credit deserts, is a phrase that gets used a lot. And so I was wondering if you had any examples that you are working with that you have been able to help grow these businesses and help them succeed.
Yeah, so at Akiptan, a lot of CDFIs finance different areas. They do like consumer loans, credit builder loans, mortgages, a little bit of everything. We only do agriculture, so that's specifically what we focus on. So most of our portfolio is ranchers right now, but we also have your other businesses, your entities versus sole proprietors and all that in there too. But we get to work with, we're on like 15 different reservations right now, last I knew, and ranchers and farmers aren't normally considered a small business, but they are. So that those are the, you know what I mean? Those are the small businesses that we get to help because they're not like formal entities, they're sole proprietors, but they're knocked out of a lot of opportunities. And so we advocate on behalf of them. Like these guys are businesses just because they operate as a sole proprietor anyways. So that's what we get to do. We get to help people accomplish their dreams. I got to help, or we, me and my team, we've got to do so much. We get to put that smile back on our producers' faces because their cash flow isn't as stressed. We get to, like I said, just help them with their dreams. You know, like they've got these ideas that conventional financing hasn't allowed them to do, and they're really good ideas, but because they're risky, their bank won't finance them, and they just come to us, and then we get to work with them, and then it's off to the races. And our clients have seen such immense success since we've been around and stuff. So it's patient capital. It's a true testament to patient capital and the importance of that and their relationship with our borrowers. We have borrowers that come into our office and they won't leave because they want to visit all day. And while I love that and I love visiting my producers, there's work to be done. But that normally people dread going to their banker, especially farmers and ranchers, because of the way that ag finance has been for forever. And we try really hard to change that dynamic. We really did like a 180 on that relationship building, and that honestly that's like probably the most important thing to me is like that relationship that we get to have with our borrowers. They're always trying to get me to come work for them too, so but yeah, no, it's all good. And so that's a large part of how we do things. So
absolutely. And I can see why they'd want you to come work with them. You're very good at what you do. And I'm sure very good at other things. I know that you have calving going on later this week. So you're also very well versed in the actual agriculture part of it.
Yeah, they find out I grew up on a ranch and they were like, oh, can you come help brand? Or can you, we're putting up hay this week. Or it's always something. It's, yeah.
We've talked a little bit in the past about the impacts of climate change that might have on small businesses, such as increasing kind of the complications that go along with maybe insurance claims because of extreme weather events, or, you know, some delay in production or just some sort of complication. I was wondering if you could speak to the role of CDFIs in that gap financing or kind of smoothing over of financing.
Yeah, so like I mentioned earlier, CDFIs were unregulated. We get a lot of flexibility within what we do. So those new ideas that banks might not finance because using finance to like economically change climate change, you know what I mean? Like those two, like they don't typically go together. There's not a lot known about them. But because we don't have all the regulations, you're probably more than likely able to get your native CDFI to finance those types of operations that take that into consideration. As far as like gap financing, we've done gap financing stuff because people like a couple years ago, the weather was really bad in one region, and people couldn't get their calves out to the sale barn, which means they couldn't pay their leases on time. And of no fault of their own, we just had a couple really early storms, and it was not their fault at all. And so we just provided some gap financing to get their leases paid for a month till they could get out, or you know what I mean? There's just so many different little things like that CDFIs have the flexibility to do and are more than happy to as well. So that's just one of the examples of like some gap financing that we've done, weather, climate related, and different things like that. But as far as like actual projects, CDFIs are really open-minded, and they want to get into new things, and they want to expand, and especially native CDFIs, you know, and just the climate and worried about Unchimaka, the earth, and just all that and stuff. Definitely a priority in the industry, and it's moving more so towards that as well.
That's exciting to hear. I know that there are large financial firms that are looking at this issue as well. So one of the resources that I've been using for our climate adaptation plan is the BlackRock Financial Institute has actually put out like this big report about like their concerns with municipal bonds, among other things. And so, yeah, it's definitely a thing that the finance world is finally starting to recognize, but it's exciting that CDFIs are really at the forefront of that.
Yeah, local CDFIs, they're at the forefront of a lot. COVID relief and COVID assistance, and yeah, we're I was getting interviewed by this girl, and she was saying that at her office, the joke is, or not the joke, but the saying is that native CDFIs and just CDFIs in general are an overnight sensation, 30 years in the making. And honestly, like that is 100% true. That's yeah.
It takes hard work though. Like you've been working at this for a while, and people behind the scenes have been working on this for a while. So that's a great description.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Yeah.
I have one last question for you, and I don't think I put this on our pre question. So, but I've asked you this before. So, what does success look like for you in your line of work? Or how do you measure success?
Oh, yeah. So success is when my producers, like just the smile on their face, honestly. A couple months ago, probably now, he was probably like 50, and he's always wanted to own cows. He's always just wanted a little small operation, nothing big and fancy, but he's always wanted to have cows his whole entire life, and no one would ever finance him. And then so we got to help a 50-year-old man like start like work towards his dreams, and you know what I mean, and I have no doubt in my mind that will be a successful loan. He's gonna work so hard, and I'm so excited for him. But we get to make those dreams a reality. The relief that we get to provide to our clients who have such stressed cash flows at traditional institutions, they come to us and they have room to breathe. With COVID and the market issues and just everything else this year, our clients had very minimal impacts just because we don't shove large payments down their throat. They were able to take the market abnormalities and absorb those with minimal impacts. They were still able to retain heifers. They were still able to buy the new equipment that they were wanting to. Like they were still able to meet their goals. Maybe not like 100%. But like 75%, you know what I mean? Like they were still able, like this year didn't hurt them like it did a lot of people just because we're a patient capital lender, you know what I mean? And so like helping our clients reach their dreams and helping them with their stressed cash flows and giving them an opportunity that's how I define success. granted, like I can pull all the numbers about how many reservations we are, how many loans we've done, like our total loan pool dispersed. Like I can pull those numbers, and yes, those numbers are exciting and I love sharing them. But when I talk about success and the impact that I get to make, I talk about the stories, about the people, about what we get to do for them, because that's honestly like the most exciting success measure impact is like just this smiles walking out of their banker's door. Like that doesn't happen anywhere. You know what I mean? Like, but I think it's just a true testament to how we do lending over here and how important patient capital is, and building that relationship with our borrower and switching up that dynamic and just doing things different. That's just really a true testament. And so just getting to see my producers be happy and be okay, and not dread coming to see me. Like that's what I think is successful. Yeah.
Yeah, that's a huge compliment, not dreading going into your banker and wanting to stay all day and talk to them. That's incredible.
Mm-hmm.
If people wanted to get in touch with you, what would be the best way to do so?
Pick up my phone and call me. Send me an email. I am such an open book. There's a lot of native CDFIs that are getting into ag lending right now. So I'm also happy to talk about our model to other native CDFIs. I've done that to a lot. But as far as getting in touch with me, my email is skya@akiptan.org. Our website's akiptan.org. My phone number is 605-964-8081. Colleen, you're more than welcome to share that with whoever too. Yeah, no, just pick up the phone and call. Either me or Melissa. Melissa is my loan officer. We're currently hiring a couple other employees, but Melissa is just as great. So we'll definitely get you taken care of. But yeah, just give us a call. We're happy to visit, happy to, like run numbers or whatever we can do to help. So.
Thank you. We really appreciate that. And I know that you've worked with Dave Tubby for the Nihiawe Community Financial Services, who we're going to also hear from. And so I'm really glad that you were able to take this time with us. Are there any parting words that you'd like to leave for the people in the audience, future audience?
I don't know, nothing that wouldn't be just repeating what I've already said. But I guess I can't stress enough, like, talk to your local native CDFIs. They want to help. They want to do good. We're cooler than banks. No, there are some good banks out there, so I can't say that. But no, like, we want to help. We want to do good. And whether you even get a loan with us or not, like, if you can walk out of our office knowing more, having financials put in place, or, you know what I mean, being in a better spot financially, whether that's knowledge or money wise, like that's success to us. Like, we just want to help. We want to do good and stuff. So yeah, just work with your native CDFIs. We're great. So.
You are great. I'm so impressed with all of the work that you've done and like continue to do. And it sounds like you're expanding into the future, and that's really exciting for everyone.
Yeah, we've got some big exciting things coming up. So.
Excellent. Well, we look forward to hearing about that from you. You guys come out here for IAC every now and then. And so I'm looking forward to just getting to work with you in the capacity that we get to in the future. So thank you.
The second that conferences are back open and it's all safe to travel again, I won't come home for a year, I swear. Like, I miss traveling. I miss getting to meet people and producers and spreading the word. And yeah, I'm super ready for that. So yeah, when it's all good to go again, give me a call. We'll be out.
Perfect. Will do. And thank you again for spending time with us this afternoon. This has been really great.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, I'm going to stop recording.